Bonjour! Bonjour!
No.
Time for bladder check. Check.
So it's a show?
It's a lifestyle.
It's a religion.
My emotions! My emotions!
I'm still French.
Ouais, c'est pas faux.
I'm a woman, Mary. I can be as contrary as I choose.
Non, moi je crois qu'il faut que vous arrêtiez d'essayer de dire des trucs.
Hello, hi, I'm Laura. I'm gonna watch Rings of Power Season 2, Episode 4. Before beginning really to talk about what is happening into the show, I want to talk about the fact that, you know, when you have a show which is based on an universe which was created somewhere else, on a show, on a book, on another movie, when you are building something new about that universe, for sure you're gonna have different categories of people watching your show, in particular the first season. So that's why for the first season, for that kind of shows, it's really a category of shows, you know. For that kind of shows, you have the hardcore fans of your universe, elaborated in something else, a book, a movie, a show, who are gonna watch it. And the hardcore fans, they are really difficult to please. So with the season 1, you're gonna have hardcore fans who are gonna hate what you did, and hardcore fans who are gonna be okay with it, maybe a little disappointed, but still who are gonna stay right there for the season 1. You're gonna have the regular fans, some who are gonna hate, some who are gonna be fans, and some also who are gonna be middle of it. And you have also people who are discovering this universe, you know, and the thing for the first time, and are just here, you know, by curiosity. And really the thing for that kind of shows is to have all of these categories of viewers coming back for the season 2. And I have the impression that for the Rings of Power, we lost a lot of them, you know, a lot of these different categories. The hardcore fans and the regular fans of the universe, you know, of Lord of the Rings at the beginning who hated the first season, for sure they're not going to be there for the second season. But the hardcore fans and the regular fans who were a little middle, you know, about the first season, I have the impression that we totally lost them for the season 2, and it's only the hardcore fans and regular fans who appreciated the first season who stayed. And I have the impression that we also lost people who were curious by this universe. Maybe it was too complex for someone who don't know anything about this universe, the lore of this universe, and because of that they didn't continue for the season 2. Meaning that if you have 3, 6, 7 categories of people to satisfy with a season 1, for the season 2 normally you have 5 of them to keep, and right there I have the impression that they kept in fact just 2 of them. Do you understand what I mean? And I'm really basing all of that, you know, all of this discussion on the few comments that I received on my videos. Like, I don't receive a lot of comments on my videos, but I appreciate each one of you. And also the things that I saw on Twitter about people who are really like, you're reacting to the Rings of Power, like really? You're losing your time with it? And me, I was like, yes. And also, you know, people making comparisons with House of the Dragon, with the Wheel of Time, with other shows based on books, based on a universe, you know, created somewhere else, elaborated somewhere else, really shows the same kind of shows, you know. So that way I have the impression that maybe the Rings of Power didn't manage to convince viewers for the season 2, and me, I appreciate the beginning of this season 2, but I'm already thinking about a potential season 3, and if we're continuing like that, I have the impression that we're never gonna have a season 3. We need to have fans back, you know, we need to have people back watching this show and talking about it the good way, and for now I don't have that impression. We'll see about it. For sure I'm not gonna talk about the few comments that I received who were just trolls or stupid people, again having that stupid debate about how can you have an elf who is black. Keep your racist ideas for yourself out of my channel. For sure I'm gonna delete your comment, and if you're continuing like that, I'm gonna ban you from my channel. Like, for sure I'm not gonna let that kind of comments. Oh, and I discussed about it also with one of you guys, the fact that some fans were mad at the fact that during the previous episode, the episode 3, we had, during a moment, an orc with his family, with, you know, a wife and a kid, and that this orc had some doubts about maybe going back to war. And me, I appreciated it, that moment, when some people, they were mad at it, they said that it was not logical and all. I think that these people, they are forgetting the fact that orcs are not evil, you know. Orcs are a category of people into the Lord of the Rings, like all of the other ones, like the elves, like the dwarves, like the men, like the hobbits, you know, like the ants. Like, you know, you can consider that an ant can have feelings, can have ideas, can have purposes, you know, in life, can take decisions, can do stuff and all, but not an orc. An orc is really someone just stupid, without any idea, you know, without any mind, and who is just following blindly the orders of their master, just like that. I never considered it like that myself, and I also watched the streamer having that discussion with people, and I thought that it was really interesting. He was basing all of his discussion on D&D, you know, Dungeons and Dragons, about the fact that we have orcs, half-orcs, you know, and they have a life, and no, they are not evil, and they are just having a normal life. And that really maybe some movies using orcs, maybe they, because of them, viewers of these movies who never read anything about orcs into Dungeons and Dragons, into The Lord of the Rings, into all of these fantasy, you know, universes, people who are just basing their knowledge, you know, of orcs on that image. For example, also the image into The Lord of the Rings, the movies, maybe they consider that orcs are just stupid soldiers, they are not really beings like all of the other ones of this universe, when they are. And I think that showing that during the previous episode, that moment, that scene with that orc with his family and hesitating about going back to war, clearly it was well done for me. It was well done to remind that to all of the viewers, and apparently it functioned. Everyone now knows about it, but for some people it's really something that they can't appreciate, they can't open their minds, you know, about it. They are just considering things, you know, all white or all black. No, the world is not like that. Our world, but also into The Lord of the Rings, you know, you have grey area, stuff like that. For sure, right now, into the show, into that part of the story, the majority of these orcs, they want to follow Adar, and they're okay to go at war, and, you know, they are really like that with him and with war and all of that. But we can consider that a few of them can be against it, and because of their families, you know, they want to protect them and all of that. No? Okay, so that was a discussion before going for this episode that I wanted to have. Also, the fact that for me what we had during the 3 first episodes surprised me in the sense that I have the impression that we are rushing things. Like, I don't have the impression that each scene is rushed. I have the impression that I'm leaving them normally, but if I'm considering how much we are progressing into the story, for me, before the end of this season, everyone is gonna have their rings, you know, dwarves like men. Like, that's it. At the end of the previous episode, they were already elaborating the rings for the dwarves. So, okay, what they're gonna do with these rings, we have a lot of things to discover, we have a lot of stories to have, you know, about it, and it can take seasons, you know, into the future. But for what is the thing, you know, about creating the rings, giving them to people, that it can be done before the end of the season. I think that maybe the writers, because of the fact that they don't know if they're gonna have a next season, they are really creating these seasons as a chapter of the Rings of Power, their stories, you know, the stories of the rings. And if the season 1 it was about how the idea of creating the rings appeared, this season 2 it's about how they were created and given to everyone, and then it's gonna be how they were used by the dwarves, how they were used by the men, and you know, we're gonna go like that, you know, with one chapter, one part of the story of the rings. And I think that it's a good way to write this show, in the sense that if you don't know if you're gonna have a future season, at least thanks to that, you're closing in a way the story, you know, at the end of each season. It's pretty cool. Okay, that was a really long intro, so I'm not gonna talk again about what I thought about really each action that we had into the previous episode. If you want to see my reactions and my thoughts about the previous episode, I'm gonna put the links, you know, into the eye about it, and also with the playlist that I made for the Rings of Power in case you want to rewatch everything with me, guys. And you have, with that playlist, all of the episodes into the chronological order. And yes, that's it. Let's go for this new episode, this episode 4 of the Rings of Power season 2. Let's go.
No earthly force could do this. This is the work of Sauron.
Get near. What other paths might we take?
To circumvent it, we should either have to turn due north, adding 2 weeks to our journey. Or we go south, through the hills of Turin and Gortag.
What is it? I knew it! I knew that we would have a jump scare during.
There is evil in those hills. Sauron means for us to go that way. You must go another.
The enemy is doubtless watching both throats.
This collapse makes it more critical than ever to reach Celebrimbor at speed.
Yes, I'm not sure that you can lose 2 weeks.
If we walk into a trap.
We go south.
Commander, I must protest.
Your opinion on the matter has been heard.
Elrond.
We know that you're right. He doesn't know about it and he has to be pragmatic.
Lieutenant, this company will not take counsel from that trinket. Nor will you.
It's also because of that, Elrond. Hello?
Pardon me, I'm supposed to see a pair of halflings on this one.
What?
See, you found the goat. It wasn't quite what I was searching for.
Well, there is what you're searching for, and there is what you find, though, isn't there?
So you didn't see 2 girls.
There are some stars above your hill.
Stars above most hills.
I had hoped that... my apologies. Just a moment.
Some stars.
The stick! The branch, yes! Are you sure about breaking it with your own hands? I'm not sure. Even know if it's that kind of cheesy. You just got eaten by a tree. Maybe we don't need it anymore. You are where you were supposed to go.
Who are you exactly?
I'm nobody.
Eh?
Well, you can't be nobody. If everybody calls you nobody, doesn't anybody call you somebody?
My mum calls me Merrimack.
Merrimack?
And Poppy.
Poppy?
I'm Nori.
Let's see your village. Oh, it's looking so great! It's Troglodyte village inside of the stones.
Harvests living in homes. It doesn't seem...
Sorry.
That's because we're not Harfoots. We're Stoors.
Stoors?
Doors.
What were you
Stoors.
thinking bringing them here? Just needed a place to hide. What, with half the devils in the desert searching for them?
You know about it.
Your brains in a vulture and fly backwards.
Come on, plead your case.
Say the truth.
I have walked across rivers and mountains to help my friend find his destiny. One the fate of the world may well depend on, yours
I
included.
said one good reason.
He's a giant.
What? Like an elf?
Bigger than that.
Oh, so he's a great big grand elf.
Yeah. Is something
He's a
else.
wizard.
Okay, you're saying it?
Well, the only wizard under these skies is the dark wizard.
Ah no, not this one.
Is a friend of his.
It's a misunderstanding.
Let him out again. You should not be working. Go to sleep.
It's like your pet, that tree.
Who are you?
A wizard like you, no?
Been a while since I've been called much of anything, but back in the Withy window, folk used to call me Bombadil.
You, Bombadil? I didn't even think of him. I thought that it would be a new character, you know, not someone from...
What do you mean, Eldest? Eldest. Mark my words, friend. Tom was there before the river and the trees. Tom remembers the first raindrop and the first acorn. He knew the dark under the stars when it was fearless. It's all
The musical
pleasant and
scene.
green. Now, it's all sand.
It's really close to one of for the movies.
Even your
One
trio.
story.
This magic. Can you teach it to me?
How to use it.
Teach you? What's to learn way out here? You wield it as if it belongs to you. All things belong each to themselves.
Yes.
Just as you belong to yourself. Might you teach me how to wield a staff? Wizard's staff is like a name. It's yours to wield already. If you prove yourself worthy of it. You showed today that you're not. Yeah.
It's close to.
Whether you can become.
With your help, time.
We shall soon discover. I was never meant to find a staff under these stars. I was meant to find you. Wasn't I? Years ago, there was another dark wizard.
It's already so many informations for him.
Once he sought to control magic like you. Now he controls much of Rune.
You know, a brother, someone like him
Still
who came.
numbers for more.
Doing
I
that.
believe his evil will spread. Not without an ally far more powerful even than himself. Sauron. Can you stop it?
You can.
Old Tom's a wanderer, not a warrior. Is it my task to stop the flood? Is it my task to face Sauron?
No, but
Your task is to face them both.
I mean, you know, facing him, yes, but not defeating him, not yourself. It's a long story.
The king sent a dispatch to warn Celebrimbor.
It was Neverland.
This dispatch. We must go from this place.
Don't let go!
Ouch! And how can you go against them? Not gonna be enough? Yes, they are dead. So... Fire maybe?
Hold fast. Come with me. Where are you going? I'll get up in it. What's your name?
You gonna feel? Thank you.
Take it. According to law, only the blades in which they were buried will return such creatures to rest.
But the men buried here have been entombed for over 1,000 years.
Did they even do you harm?
Arrondir, what he?
I ask because I noticed a wound on your neck. Looks to be recent.
I fell asleep by the fire. I should have put it out when I was cold. It was foolish of me.
You know he knows.
Estrid, what is this?
Self-burn. Why would do it to hide the mark of Adar?
But maybe she was forced to take it, like we saw some people being forced